Yep.
Hi,
oh my
everybody.
God. Should I have said go? I'm sorry.
No,
that was for us to start recording. We do that so that we start recording around the same time. You're totally fine.
Okay.
You're totally good.
All right,
Okay.
you don't need to go on my track. Okay,
I
cool.
love that.
The scary world. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Sarah.
And I'm Edward October from Octoberpod.
Hey! And this is
Deadtime
Deadtime
Storiez.
That felt like a really good one.
Okay.
This is a weekly podcast where Sarah and I get together to talk about ghost stories, true crime, supernatural, spooky, eerie. We talk about the paranormal, cults, conspiracies, and just whatever weird stuff it is that we feel like talking about that week. Why is that, Sarah?
Because it's our show and not yours.
Surprisingly enough. Spoiler
Weird.
alert.
I know.
If you're new to the show, then you may have heard that we have a third person here today. This is actually a guest. Ed, tell the people about yourself.
Okay. I'm Edward October. I am the host of Octoberpod on YouTube. It actually used to be a podcast, but now it's only on YouTube. Which I remember you guys ran a promo of mine once, and I had a tagline. It's only on YouTube, only on YouTube. And I think Sarah was like, no, this is Octoberpod, but I forget where you said you can pick him up. And Stephanie, you were saying it's only on YouTube. He just said it like 4 times. So anyway.
You're welcome for the publicity.
I know, exactly. Exactly.
I'm sharp.
So we can find you on Stitcher Premium and Apple Podcasts, right? Is there
anywhere where I can find podcasts, right? Wherever podcasts are available.
I'm the
He's
retro
only
horror
on YouTube,
part.
you guys.
The retro horror podcast that you can find on YouTube and nowhere else now. But
only on YouTube.
Exactly. So we tell mostly me. We narrate true-ish and classic horror stories. And we have kind of like a retro feel. Usually I have like, the crackle of old film or vinyl or something in the background when I'm speaking. So really trying to, I usually try to emulate like old time radio or something like that. And that's about it. I'm not going to get into any my life story, but when I tell my story, when I tell my ghost story, I will get into a bit of it. You guys will probably hear a lot about my background. So I will save that for then. But until then, I'll just pimp the show. Go watch Octoberpod.
There you go.
Yeah, it's great. Octoberpodvhs.com has all of our links, and you'll have a good time.
Finish this episode first and then go.
Yes,
to
as
YouTube.
soon as
start the show from the first episode, and then once you've caught up to where you are now, go listen to Octoberpod.
Yes, exactly.
Or watch it because it's on YouTube.
I can also be heard on our true crime podcast. I don't know if you know those guys. I do the listener discretion at the beginning of their episode. Ooh. And in my listener discretions, I'm always like, if this is going to be too shocking for you, turn off your streaming device right now. So if you ever want somebody to
and throw it out the window
to say turn off your phone before you listen to our podcast, I'm your guy.
Turn off your phone. Oh wait, no, that's probably how you're listening. Don't turn it off. Don't turn it off.
This is not a test. It's a podcast. You downloaded it, you silly bitch.
You knew what you were getting into.
That should honestly be our tagline. You knew what you were getting into.
You knew what you were getting into. If you learned something, that's your own fault.
That's your own fault.
Yeah.
I feel like we rarely ever do a discrepancy or a caution.
I know.
Right.
I try.
So
I try to,
it.
but we're really bad about it. Content warning.
Yeah.
I try to be as PG-13 as I can on my own show. So I do one every now and then. Like I've got a couple of episodes that are squishier and gorier than I usually do. So I'll be
Ooh, I like that description. Squishier.
And I say
Oh,
squishier
like
because I was literally looking up squish sound effects, like someone hitting a turnip with a mallet or slicing a cabbage.
Like Gallagher's best hits.
Exactly.
Well, every pun intended in that sentence.
Yep.
Hey. You have to wear like the poncho in the front row because he smashes the wall.
I know, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
We might have some young listeners who don't
you
get
it.
Yeah, we
Right, no, it's a kind of dated reference, but I mean, we also
we
oh
carbon dated ourselves with that reference.
We also keep making the joke lately of like referencing you might be a redneck, and we found out there is still new merchandise being made.
Oh my god,
for Jeff Foxworthy,
yes,
that has "You Might Be a Redneck" on it. It blew our minds because I looked it up. I was like, in passing, I was like, when's the last when's the last time you could buy like a "You Might Be a Redneck" calendar? 2020. They still make them.
Wow.
2021.
They're like, order your 2021 now.
You need 2021. It's coming up.
Now,
you might be a redneck if you need this calendar.
That makes me wonder if there's still like Yakov Smirnoff stuff. You remember that guy? What a country. You remember Yakov?
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm ancient.
Gosh.
In my country.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm
Speaking
like,
of in my country,
that guy
I saw a tweet that said the last curse of 2020 is everyone doing Borat voices again.
Oh my god.
That's true.
Yeah. I watched that a couple weeks ago.
My wife, I never stopped doing that. That's the worst part. I can't hear the phrase "my wife" without yelling it back like that.
Why? And you have to yell it every time. Why do you have to yell it?
I do. Sarah knows. I do. Ooh, it's tough. Can't even help myself at this point.
It's a tough world.
And he's coming back. And I don't think I've never even seen Borat. And I just can't.
Oh, you've never seen Borat? People. I thought the second one wasn't as funny because we're used to the whole shtick now. So, like, the first one, you watch it, and then, like, for the whole, week after that, you're talking about wizard sleeves and stuff like that. But, like, the second one, you watch it, and you're like, oh, yes, wizard sleeve. That's a good callback. And it's not laugh out loud funny like the first one was. But
yeah.
See, I think the first one, it was because myself and a friend of mine had two characters that we did that had like a wacky accent, that we had like a whole life story for these two characters, and we would like bust these characters out at parties and like improv as these two characters. And
were you like, he stole our bit?
Yes. It wasn't even like he stole. I don't think that he stole it. I just mean like then it came out. I'm not so like
so he didn't Carlos Mencia you guys, but we couldn't. It
ruined it for us because people were like, oh, like Borat, and we're like, no, but these are our fucking characters that we came up with years ago.
Yeah, like
Never
Borat.
Mind. It's not funny anymore. But it was Slovak and Slovakia, and they were twins from Turkey, and we have a whole spiel, like a whole bit that we would do.
Nice.
But that was kind of a very similar accent, like,
Right.
We are from Turkey, we come from our country, like it was a whole thing.
Oh, wow.
So, my wife, but that's it. That's all I'm going to say.
My wife.
And I would like to remove myself from this narrative.
I'm just like, all right, so is that going to be the phrase we repeat over and over in this episode?
What, my wife?
Because we always seem to find a phrase to latch onto for some reason.
I hope that's not the one.
Well, let's see what happens.
I guess we're about to find out. So are we ready to move into this? Are we ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm going to ask the big question. Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Ed.
Hey, guys. Y'all ready to talk about some ghosts?
Not as smooth as the intro, but still pretty okay.
Look, we'll make it work.
Do we need to
make it work? Sarah's gonna fix it in editing. That's what happens.
Do you want to do a second take?
Just edit it.
All right.
I am ready.
We'll
I'm
fix
ready
it in post.
For you to tell us.
Yeah, the people get what they get.
All right.
Yeah, Ed, head us with it. We're so excited.
I'm so excited.
Okay. Well, don't be too excited. I hope they're good.
He's gonna set the bar
I'll
low.
curb it back a little bit. I'll take it. I'll dial it down.
Dial it back. So I'm going to tell you guys about some historic haunts from my hometown. Well, not really my hometown, but my home county, the next town over from where I grew up.
So you would say not Hattiesburg, Mississippi, but it's about 45 minutes
close by
outside of Hattiesburg,
about 45
Mississippi, but that's the city that people have heard of. So you usually
Right.
say it's in Hattiesburg.
The closest, exactly, the closest grocery store is in this town. So
Is it a Piggly Wiggly? Where are you from?
I'm from Southwest Virginia, and
Okay.
the stories I'm going to tell you are from Abingdon, Virginia. Abingdon, so it's about, depending on how fast you drive, it's about 20 minutes away from the Tennessee border in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But Abingdon is this sort of has a really cool historic downtown. It's kind of funny because it's like a couple blocks of like, oh, cool, historical looking, buildings. And then there's the Dollar Tree and the Piggly Wiggly. It's not a Piggly Wiggly. Food Country,
I
Food
fucking
City.
knew there would be a Piggly Wiggly.
Is there a Dairy Queen? That's the big question.
No. So in my town,
Damn.
the town where I grew up, we didn't have a Dairy Queen. We had a Dairy King. And it was a mom and pop Dairy Queen knockoff. They're not in business anymore. I think they sell like used tires or something out of that building now. Anyway, I'm definitely.
Is that part of Virginia in the mountains, like in the Appalachian Mountains?
Yes. We
Do y'all have Ingalls in that area?
not near me, but I'm familiar. We're close to Ingles's.
Okay.
Because
I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
But my mom is from here we go. My mom is from East Flat Rock, North Carolina, but that's about 45 minutes outside of
Stop.
Asheville.
Okay, great. Yep.
So I know that little pocket a little bit.
Yeah, we're right off of where I grew up was right on the Appalachian Trail. And we're so Appalachian that we get pissed off when we hear someone say Appalachian. So
Yep.
it's
That was going to be my next question was, do you have feelings about how this word is pronounced?
I have
Nobody from there says Appalachian.
Right.
If you're from there, it's the Appalachian.
you know that somebody's from out of town if they say Appalachian.
The
You
Appalachian
ain't from
Mountains.
around
You're
here,
like,
are you?
Exactly.
Exactly.
So Abingdon. Abingdon has about more than what I'm talking about, but the three of the biggest historical sites in Abingdon are the Martha Washington Inn, and the Barter Theatre, which is right across the street from the Martha Washington, and the Tavern. All three of them are said to be haunted. So the Martha Washington Inn, and it's funny, as I was getting ready for this, I realized that I had like a framed like print of the Martha Washington Inn hanging above our toilet upstairs in our bathroom. And I'm like, wow, I was just researching the Martha Washington. But yeah, we have like a framed art print, and we've got
Something has it on my mind. He's like pooping.
Right,
He's like,
yeah.
some reason,
some
Martha
reason.
Washington, and some reason I
Why
should
do
talk
I
about
keep remembering that? Well, and we have it, and it's a matching set. We've got another one of the Barter Theatre. We've got another one of the Barter Theatre, but I don't remember it. It's that one's in storage. We haven't hung that one up yet.
Ran out of space in the bathroom.
Exactly. So, but I digress. So the Martha Washington, it's one of these big, like, old-timey hotels. It looks kind of like it wasn't a plantation house, but it looks kind of like a plantation house kind of
Gotcha.
Buildings. And it was originally built in 1832 as a private residence for a General Francis Preston. It would later become a college, later became the Martha Washington College after being a residence. And the college operated for over 70 years. You can tell I'm reading bullet points. The college operated for over 70 years during the Civil War and the Great Depression. So the Civil War is where a lot of the ghost stories come from.
Always.
Yep,
It's where
per
most of the
usual.
ghosts come from.
Yep.
That's a personal theory.
Yep. They so at one point the college was used as a like a hospital for soldiers, and Old House used as a Civil War hospital. I mean, it can't get much more cliche than that for a haunted historical site.
People definitely lost limbs in that house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And so a lot of people in the area have experienced hauntings and things like that. Before I go into like the well-known ones, I mean, I can say that I went to high school with a guy who had a job, I think, bussing tables at Martha Washington's, the restaurant attached to the hotel. And I remember him telling stories about, just strange. I forget exactly specifically what he said, but he said you didn't want to be around there, at night alone. That there's just a lot of like general, pervasively creepy stuff. I guess a feeling, eerie feeling. But I think, also things like shadows, of people when there aren't things going on and doors shutting, that type of thing.
I feel like that sucks so bad when you feel like your workplace is haunted.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're like,
More
if
than
I'm
your
at
house?
home, well, I'm just like, if I'm at home, I can go stay at someone else's house. If I'm at my job, I feel like I have to go do this. I can't go to my boss and be like, yo, boss, there's a ghost in that back closet, so I really don't want to go get the like napkins from that back closet. They're going to be like, just go get the napkins. If it's my house, I can just board off that hallway.
I think I would rather be in a job that's haunted by ghosts than the kind that's haunted by assholes, which is...
Yeah,
That's
see, and
fair.
I've had a lot of
That's
that
fair.
job.
I've had that
Like,
experience.
home is supposed to be...
What if
home is
you
supposed to
had
be like
both?
my escape.
No, that would be bad. That would be a nightmare
That would
situation
be a
right
very
there.
sad and difficult experience.
What if not only you had an asshole boss, but you were the only person who the ghost messed with? And so the boss was like, you're fucking crazy. And you're like, no, I swear. I come in and like my pencils are on the other side of the desk.
That could be. That would be.
Just a
Yeah,
minor
I can see
occurrence.
that. I can see that. But so the story from the Martha Washington that I like the best. It's not the only one. I'll tell you a couple others. But the one that always stuck with me growing up was the reappearing blood stain. So there was a soldier, according to the legend, who was sent to be a courier to Robert E. Lee. And he fell in love with one of the women at the college. And, it was sort of like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. And he was wounded, and he I'm sorry, I'm getting my bullet points mixed up here.
You're good.
Anyway, so basically this soldier died and left a blood stain on the floor, and the blood stain continually reappears. Like, so you change out the carpets, the blood stain always shows up on that spot.
Do you know if it's like permanently like in the I guess what I'm trying to say is there always some sort of a mark there and then it just gets stronger occasionally, or is it that like sometimes there's nothing there and then it comes back?
Yeah, I don't know. From my reading of it, it's not like there's like a stain that went all the way down to the floorboards or whatever. It's that It's like there's a spot there and there'll always be a stain that forms on the carpet. And say you rip up the carpet and put new carpet down, a stain will form there too.
It would just appear like in the same
It
spot.
just keeps appearing. And I think I've heard, I know people who have seen that spot. So that was the one that I always believed the most. There are other stories. There's a room 403 is said to be haunted, again, by another ghost who was called the Yankee Sweetheart, and that's the Romeo and Juliet story. Have a northern soldier and a southern belle having a love affair, and
those never end well.
They never end well. She would play, when he was dying, she would play the violin to him, and you can hear the violin music in room 403.
That's what's still there?
Yeah, I think is one of the things that's still there. I think there are other things that
I was like, that's kind of nice.
That's kind of sweet. And I've got to tell you, I'm not the biggest fan of the like historical historical ghost stories, because I wonder how much of it is legend and how much of it is actually, there's a real thing going on. And it feels less like ghost stories and more like history, which I'm like, snooze. But
so you prefer more of an intelligent haunting instead of a residual haunting?
No, not even that. I think I prefer a haunting that doesn't have a backstory to it. Like, I prefer the haunting.
That's terrifying.
I prefer the hauntings that are like,
here?
yeah, like, what the fuck is that? Like, the was it ever even human kind of hauntings. Those are the stories that I prefer. But
Poltergeisty.
Yeah, sort of, yeah. But I can say, like, so this is a good segue to the next one, is the Barter Theatre across the street from there. I used to take a summer acting class. Not class, it's like a camp at the Barter Theatre. And when it was over, I would walk across the street and like read a book on the porch of the Martha Washington Inn, waiting on my mom to pick me up. And it's right spooky if you catch it on the right day. Especially, I think that, I could be wrong, but I think that blood stain was like in the lobby. So I was always get creeped out when I would see the lobby. I'm like, oh, there's the staircase. Where's that blood stain? But so the Barter Theatre is the other historic site. And as I was saying, it's right across the street from the Martha Washington. And it's a really cool theater. They do really good shows there. They had a lot of actors famously get their start there. Guys like Gregory Peck, Ned Beatty. God, there's a bunch of others, but I'm forgetting. Ernest Borgnine. Like, lots of people got their start at the Barter Theatre. And it was so during the Depression, the Barter Theatre got its name as the Barter Theatre because people would be too poor to afford tickets. So they're like, okay, come and barter for a ticket with some food and stuff. Let us feed our actors. So people would barter for tickets, and they would feed the actors, and there you got the Barter Theatre. And
oh my gosh, I did not know that. That's almost like, that's like pay what you can nowadays.
Right.
But now instead of being like, give us $5, they're like, give us some bread.
Right, yeah.
Give us some, we literally want to feed our actors.
Give us a jar of apple butter. Yeah.
Actors have always been underpaid.
Yeah, and to this day, so they've, the original Barter Theatre is still operating, but across the street, beside the Martha Washington, there's like a black box theater. It's like the Barter Playhouse. It's like a sort of satellite thing. And they still do matinee shows where you can barter, like get in with like canned food or something.
That's cool.
So they still do the bartering. And look it up and you can find like a huge list of names of people. Newman from Seinfeld.
I used to know his name.
Wayne, is it Wayne Knight?
Wayne Knight, yes.
Knight, yeah. Him, Gregory Peck, Ernest Borgnine are the ones that always get mentioned. So anyway, there apparently is a tunnel underneath the Barter Theatre.
I love a secret passageway.
Right? So,
especially when it's under a theater.
Mm-hmm. That's the best kind.
It's a secret passageway that connects the Martha Washington to the Barter. And that I guess actors used to use to get around during shows or after shows or whatever. And I think it connects, like directly to the backstage or area or whatever. So they say that tunnel is creepy as hell, and that if you walk through it, you get the eerie presence. Some people say that it is haunted by Robert Porterfield, the founder of the Barter Theatre. I'm just double checking that I'm giving you the right name. That is Robert Porterfield. Yeah. I knew it was Porterfield. I wanted to double check that it was Robert Porterfield.
What his first name was.
Yeah, what his first name was.
Mr. Porterfield.
Mr. Porterfield. The illustrious. No.
Do they have a reason for why the owner of the theater wants to hang out in the tunnel?
Well, so I think there are several ghosts there, and I don't know that he is necessarily the one in the tunnel, but his ghost has often been reported like sitting in the balcony when the lights are off, or like, when actors are alone on the stage, that type of thing. They say that he can often be seen like sitting and watching whatever's going on the stage. But
taking notes up there. He's like, I have a few critiques,
right.
Please. I have something to say.
I have a problem with that reading. If you guys could just go back.
I need you to take that again.
Yeah.
One more time. I promise. Just one more time.
Could you enunciate a little bit better? You're really popping your T's there. But
you're like, what do you know? You're a fucking ghost. Anyways, I'm sorry.
So the tunnel, I forgot the biggest bullet point on the tunnel. The tunnel was used as part of the hospital operation at the Martha Washington. So I think that wounded soldiers would get, ferried back and forth in those tunnels. And so I think they're the culprit of the tunnel haunting. So that's the Barter Theatre, and I've been there in like theater camps, things like that. That Black Box Theater that I was telling you about I don't think it's haunted. It's much newer, but there's something about like you guys do theater, and there's something about like those black box, like studio theaters where it's just like all black curtains on the walls, and then behind it is mirrors, and it's easy to like sort of freak yourself out in one of those places. It's always easy to believe there are ghosts. And
I feel like all theaters have that feeling if you're in there by yourself.
Yeah.
As much as I love being in a theater, and I really love being in like an empty theater with the rest of a cast of a show that I'm working on, like working on something, but to be in there alone, not working, but just like closing up and turning out all the lights one by one, every theater's haunted.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
In my book. They're terrifying.
They're
scary.
I would agree. Yeah. Well, I mean, where else are you going to find like all black walls, and all black ceilings,
And when it gets dark, it gets pitch black.
And there's no windows.
Yeah, yeah. And your eyes hurt trying to, let more light in. There's just not any light. Anyway, so that's the Barter Theatre. That one's, I feel like the Martha Washington's a lot more haunted than the Barter is. I think the main ghost in the Barter is Porterfield, which, theater guy just hanging out, watching the shows for free.
He's just protecting his investment of the theater.
Exactly. They do some good shows. They did a good Dracula a few years ago. That was probably like 10 or 15 years ago by now, but I remember.
Let's hope the Rona didn't get him.
Yeah, right.
Everyone, let's hope the Rona didn't get the theater.
I doubt it. I mean, it's an institution.
Yeah.
It's one of the
It
things
had, like,
that keeps
support.
that town, alive. That and the Food City, those two go. So the one last one that I have, also in Abingdon, about a block and a half down from both of these other places, is the Tavern. And it is the oldest building in Abingdon, older than the Martha Washington and the Barter. Let me hold on just a second. I'll tell you how old it is. I'm super prepared. All right, 1779 was.
Oh wow!
And it's got like kind of like a thatch roof. Like it's a super old building. It's a restaurant now. It was the Tavern. I guess it was always a restaurant of sorts. But and I have eaten there, and I remember getting a French dip roast beef sandwich there. But now they're German. I don't think I've eaten there since they've been a German restaurant, but I would like to. I'm going off on a huge tangent.
Oh, that's interesting that like it's like a historical landmark, but it's changed like ownership and themes.
Oh yeah, several times. Yeah. Like back when I was in high school, it was your basic like cafe, French bistro kind of meat and potatoes kind of place. And then here recently, it's been a German restaurant.
Interesting. I know that in Philadelphia, we have like the City Tavern. They just recently, unfortunately, announced that they are closing. I don't know if you heard this, Stephanie, or if you knew of this place, but the City Tavern, like the old tavern from the Revolution, they're officially closing their doors because of COVID.
Yeah,
but
of course.
They've always kept to like the revolutionary time themes, like the 1770s, like the food they serve is just that chicken, meat, potatoes.
Oh, cool.
Everything's on like pewter platter and silverware.
The forks with like two tines on them.
Yeah, your beers are like you get a Sam Adams lager and you like it, and people dress in like the colonial garb.
Oh, wow.
So to hear that another city has that equivalent.
It's like medieval times, but it's revolutionary
times.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's like, but one week it was an In-N-Out burger or something. Like,
well, it was never like that.
I didn't know you could do that.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a building. Somebody just owns it. Since it's a historical site, I think they have like a crazy, their HOA is the Historical Society,
Yeah, they have certain
I wonder
standards.
if like the ghosts are ever under new management.
Well, speaking of
like
the ghosts.
new ghosts come in.
Like new ghosts come in, right? They get replaced. The old ghosts get replaced by new
ghosts.
There's
an In-N-Out burger ghost. There's a...
Yes.
Well, so the ghost in the tavern is called the Tavern Tart.
Ooh, yeah, she is.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, we're gonna go after dark here on this one. No, so
that's Deadtime Storiez.
Yeah, there you go with a Z. The Tavern Tart. So the tavern used to be a purveyor of sex work goods, like many taverns back from colonial times, and so we have the ghost of one of the former brothel workers who haunts the tavern, and she will do the normal ghost stuff, doors opening, closing, footsteps on the floorboards, but then she's also known to come up and like give you a pinch on the butt if she likes you, I guess. But this particular ghost really growing up really had really captured my imagination. She really got into my headspace, because when I was growing up, the local paper around Halloween one year ran a photo of this ghost looking out the window of the tavern. And it's like, oh my God. So, when I was growing up, that photograph was like, the Loch Ness Monster picture in the National Geographic, or the Patterson Bigfoot film. It's just like this iconic, like, paranormal image that's blazed into my mind.
I'm trying to think of like what that would be for me, because I know I probably have one.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, there's a certain image that you see that you're like, ooh, I'm into ghost stuff.
Right.
And now
exactly.
I know I'm into ghost stuff.
It's like, I feel like, people who are into this kind of stuff, they have like a Mount Rushmore of spookies in their head, and I would say that that's probably one of them. It's just, they would run it at Halloween, that photo. And it's just creepy. And you
Can
could
you
tell.
find it online?
I looked and looked, and I couldn't find it. But this is, I'm old, so it was this photo probably would have run, in the late 80s, early 90s, something like that. Mm-hmm. But so the paper is called the Bristol Herald Courier. If anybody wants to dive into the microfiche and try to find it,
do that homework
that I was not willing to do. I was too lazy to do. Yeah, I was intimidated by this because I know, I'm kind of into like the true crime / paranormal, social media bubble, but I'm not one of those guys that like goes in and does the homework and all that stuff. I'm just like, somebody sends me a story and I'm like, all right, I'll run it. Or somebody sends me a short story in and I'll be like, all right, we'll put this in the first person and make it sound true-ish. I do true-ish and classic stories. So yeah, I do not have the research skills, but yeah, if anybody was really into it, you could find it. And so the Tavern, in the brief sort of research that I did, there are some paranormal investigators that have gone in and done some stuff. I looked at the thing that I pulled up. I think somebody found an EVP recording there. But yeah, that place, I've been there, I've eaten there, and it's spooky. Like, so it's on a hill. Boy, I think my accent really came out. It's on a hill?
You're good.
It's built up around that hill, and so, everything is sort of at a slant, and so all of the floorboards and things are kind of crooked. If you've ever read The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, she talks about all these like non-Euclidean angles that don't quite add up to 90 degrees, things like that. Well, it's so old that it's kind of like that. Like, you walk up the stairs and you're like, these stairs are not level,
Yeah. You just kind of like put off,
right,
in all senses, like equilibrium and like atmosphere.
Exactly. Yeah. You go in there and it's a very lovely place. I encourage everyone to visit. But you can really see, like, it feels like, especially the floors, as I recall, everything seems like 1 degree off of plumb, But so that's a cool place. And yeah, so the Tavern Tart, she's on my Mount Rushmore, but there's not a whole lot to say about her other than, she's what you would expect from a ghost. She has her things that she likes, and the people that work at that restaurant, they're like, you do not want to be around here when it's after dark, after closing, by yourself,
because she gets real spicy.
Yes, spicy tart.
Spicy tart.
Spicy tart.
That spicy little tart.
I know.
You're like, she won't go away. She's just annoying. She doesn't hurt anyone. She's just spicy. And, back to the photo, the story is that like, if she finds men on the street that she likes, she'll like glare at them. You. I choose you. Right. You know what you did. They didn't say she was a successful tart in her day, so maybe her methods.
Maybe
she never learned they didn't work.
Yeah, could be.
You never know.
So those are my historical hauntings.
Ooh. And you said you grew up in Abingdon? Was that like most of your childhood was spent there?
Well, so I didn't grow up there. I grew up in the same county. I grew up the next town over, which is much smaller. Like I said, like if we ever wanted to go to the grocery store, we would have to drive out to Abingdon. That was the closest.
Go to Abingdon.
I've been fighting back the accent. It comes out. It comes out, because I've lived in the DC area for years and years and years and years, and so like I've neutraled out a little bit. But when I talk to friends from back home or talk to family, the twang comes out.
Oh, yeah. I feel like Stephanie and I both can relate to that from also being like from the South and then moving north slash like having acting backgrounds where for me, everyone says you're from Texas. You don't sound like you're from Texas. And my go-to is, well, I'm an actress and I went to college for theater, so I had my accent beaten out of me.
Right, yeah.
Which is basically what happened.
So yeah, I'm always just like, I don't put it that way, but yes, where I'm just like, well, I've done like theater and speech stuff since I was very young, so I just learned very early how to speak with very nondescript accent. And sometimes, like, you know,
But it comes
I say
out.
y'all because y'all makes the most sense. And sometimes if I'm like shooting the shit with somebody else from the South, like, and you kind of relax, a little drawl comes out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
friend Sawyer, like, we lived with Sawyer, and Sawyer, again, is from Mississippi, and Sawyer's accent is like, whoa.
He never lost
and
it.
He never lost it, but it's hilarious because he's also an actor, and he can turn it off. Like, he can speak with another accent.
Yeah.
But, like,
It's like code switching, you know, for people that, you know, speak another language.
yes.
Yeah.
It's totally, you switch back into it. And
Yeah, definitely.
I love how, on a side, not ghost-related tangent, but I feel like the last few times we've had guests on the show, and I love this, it's guests from different areas, and we, in a way, end up talking about, like, dialect, which is sort of
Yes.
just, like,
Right.
it's just sort of evolved into being like, this is how I talk. How do you talk?
yeah, like a couple years from now, you guys are just going to be linguistic stories.
Language story.
We're like,
Y'all want to talk
"Ooh,
about accents?
that pronunciation's weird and scurry.
Yeah, I know, right?
Who knows? This show has already evolved a fair amount over 3 years, so.
Yeah, it's funny how these shows, you know, sort of change. I haven't done as many episodes as like a traditional podcast would, but you know, even I'll go back to like my earliest shows, and I'm like, oof, who would? I can't listen to it. You know, when I first started out, I think I was trying too hard to do like a Rod Serling type thing, and I was like very, very dry, and we're sitting here on our stools, smoking our cigarettes and drinking our scotch and talking about ghosts, and it's very serious. And now I'll listen to those, and I'm like, oh Jesus, it's hard to sit through.
You're like, what was I thinking?
Right. And now that I'm on YouTube, it's like you only have 15 seconds to do an intro. So I'm like, oh God. So like this character that I've built up, I have to boil him down to 15 seconds. And so
It's the morphing of the craft.
I know, here we are talking about, everybody's wanting to listen to ghosts, and all I want to talk about is let's talk about podcasting and YouTubing.
I was like, yeah, I feel like some episodes we get a little more into like
You're right.
the artistry behind it.
Yeah.
People seem to like it.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm always interested in, you know, hearing what works for other people, and that's the only way you learn how to do stuff. Like, stop me if I'm boring you guys to death, but like, you know, like I'll look at the videos on YouTube, and it's like how to get more subscribers and all this stuff, and all of the tips are for like how-to shows and like informational shows. I'm like, what are the tips for the horror narrators out there? You know, so it boils down to, is like, all right, I gotta go look and see what Chills is doing or what Mr. Nightmare is doing, and I'm like, anyway, sorry.
It's
Tangents.
I feel like there's no book
Right.
on like 5 foolproof tips and tricks to put your podcast on
Right.
Apple's top 10.
Right.
Like, it just doesn't.
It doesn't do that.
Some weeks are good, some weeks are
not
not
good.
as good download wise.
Yeah. It's like a crapshoot a lot of times.
But that's why we here at Deadtime Storiez like to say we keep bringing you that 3-star content.
Right? We don't want to
And we'll
oversell
keep that
it.
bar low.
Right, yeah. I don't know that I've ever articulated this, but like my goal for my show is I just want to be the thing that you turn on when you're on the couch and you just want to doze off to something creepy. You know? Yeah. You know, you're sitting there,
Just
you
put me on and fall asleep.
exactly. Like if you want to, I want something old and spoopy. That's probably not the thing that I would want to admit about my show. It's not boring, really, but
No, I mean, put it on. Just keep it playing all through the like 6 hours that you sleep.
yeah, well,
I'll get those listens.
you know, and like during COVID times, I mean, everything is just about comfort food. You know, like everything that I watch is like what is comfortable, and I'm like, yeah, that's what you want to aspire to, you know, is to like be the comfy sweater of content. And so Anyway.
You have a very soothing, relaxing voice for it, definitely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
It definitely like lulls me in.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Right? You just get like pulled in.
Yeah.
It's very good like narration.
Yeah, trying to get that whole NPR, kind of sound in.
That's it. Yes.
There you go.
Good times.
It's like the opposite of us here. I don't know how anyone could put us on and go to sleep.
Yeah, you guys are pretty lively.
Our loud asses will wake you up again.
You guys are pretty lively, for sure. For sure.
So to all of our listeners, if you're looking for something a little more chill and spooky, go check out Octoberpod. Only on YouTube.
It's only on YouTube.
Only on YouTube.
Yeah, that promo, I came up with that because it's actually a parody of a Last House on the Left trailer. And it's the that goes, it's only a movie, only a movie, only a movie. I'm like, oh, this would be really cool if I could just be like, it's only on YouTube. So, yes, so for soothing retro horror thrills, with only the occasional jump scare, listen to
Octoberpod.
Exactly.
I love that. Ed, thank you so much for coming on our more lively and loud show.
And I was going to tell the people to tell them where they can find you, but it's only on YouTube.
Well, it's only on YouTube. We have a website, octoberpodvhs.com. There you can find the link to our YouTube channel. There's also a comic. There was only one strip done. But an artist that I've worked with, Nick Calavera, he did a it's sort of like The Office or 30 Rock, but based on my show.
Okay.
But we've only gotten like one strip done. But anyway, the link to it is on my website. And you can follow me on Twitter at OctoberpodVHS. And I just had a new video drop today, Thanksgiving Road Trip. It's a really awesome... I'm just gonna plug the shit and just cut me out. Plug the shit out of my stuff.
This is your November video, right?
This is my November video. It's called Thanksgiving Road Trip. It's written by Amy Cotto, who is a writer that I've worked with before, and it's got a bunch of guest stars. It's very much like an old time radio show, but with like ambient visuals to it. So a lot of guest stars, a lot of people that we know in our pod circles are in it. And also Sarah has been in our 2 Ouija board stories and crushed it.
Yep.
So if you want to go to our channel, you can hear Sarah in the shows Ouija 2, Planchette Boogaloo, and George and Ouija. So...
yeah,
I think
those were fun.
So yeah, please subscribe. I need views and subscribes. I'm such a small channel. Help me grow.
Put it on while you sleep, y'all. Just on loop.
Do it. Yeah, do a playlist. I've got a bunch of playlists. Just put on a playlist and just let the world melt away. Your channel
is something that would be up Christina's alley. So Christina, go put it on.
Yeah,
she's on it.
Absolutely.
Got you, Ed.
You will love it. Put it directly in your veins, Christina.
I was like, don't tell her to do that. She'll do it.
Oh, no. I really appreciate you guys having me on. And I hope there's some good spoopy ghost content. Ghosts.
That's it.
I hope we've got some good ghost stories out of my ramblings.
That's our favorite. We love it. And we love also having other...
I mean, we ramble. We like having other people come on to ramble.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and we love supporting our other, like, creatives.
Other creepy podcast fam.
Yeah, include our other, like, spooky podcast family.
Oh, yeah.
We all just support each other. It's a really supportive group.
It's the only way to do it. It's a dog eat dog world out there. You gotta...
It's a pod eat
It's a
pod.
pod
world.
I know. That's what I was thinking.
I know.
Well, Ed, I want to thank you again for coming on. And I want to remind the listeners, you can find Octoberpod home video on YouTube. And the website is octoberpodvhs.com. .com? Yes. Awesome. I love that.
.com.
And our show, of course, you're listening to us here. You can support our show in a plethora of ways. We have a Patreon with a $1, $5, and $15 tiers, all of which are banging with cool shit and bonus content and all sorts of other stuff. You can buy merch from our website, which is Deadtime Storiez with a Z, all one word, .com. And of course, there are other ways you can support us if you don't have the muns. Ways like giving us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you take a screenshot of that and send it to our email, deadtimestoriez with a Z, all one word, @gmail.com, we will take your address and we will send you a sticker to thank you for leaving us a review because it's super freaking helpful.
We'll do it. We'll do
Follow
it.
us on all
and
the
you know what
things.
else? We're on all the things except
YouTube.
Oh my God, you guys should.
That is so true.
You guys should get on YouTube. It would be really easy, and then I could really like cross promote the shit out of you guys if you had like a YouTube channel.
Somebody recommended to us that we just like upload our episodes to YouTube.
That's how I
with,
started.
Like, no video, like even with no video, like just with the audio on there.
That's how I started. That's exactly how I
feel
started.
like I looked into it and I didn't know how to do it. And
we
then
have
I
so
just
many episodes
didn't look
to
into
backlog,
it again.
right? Oh yeah, no, I get it.
Well, you could just
You know,
start.
if you want to see us or listen to us on YouTube, if you're a person who listens
Let
to
us
podcasts on
know.
YouTube and you came through Octoberpod and you're like, bitch, people are into that.
Yeah,
Let us know.
Let me know.
absolutely,
We'll be there.
absolutely. Maybe I mean I don't know if you guys wanted me to put this up on my channel. If you guys wanted to,
Go for it. If you want me to send you the
yeah,
if you wanted to do
finished
that,
audio,
yeah, and
I'm into it.
yeah, why not?
then you guys might get
Definitely.
a taste, get the bug,
A little
and
taste.
then,
Ooh, get a little taste, a little tasty taste. I love it.
and then maybe you could branch out with your own YouTube channel. It's easy.
You never know, guys. 2021.
It's 2020. Yeah,
Anything could
2021's coming up.
happen.
Tomorrow,
Fucking
the world.
Anything. This world's crazy if I learned anything this year.
It's great.
Ooh. All right, y'all. We're going to wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Support all of our shows. You're good people. You know how it is. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Edward October.
And
Yay!
this has been... Oh. And this has been...
Deadtime Storiez.
Thanks for listening.
Deadtime Storiez is hosted by Sarah Heddens and Stephanie C. Kernison. Music and editing by Eric Gershnow. Artwork by Rennie Slackman.
It broadcasts at 1:38 a.m. from the very center of hell. Octoberpod. Finally, a retro horror show which offers to bold individualists a look into the maddening space between nightmare and nostalgia. True horror stories and found footage beyond anything you've tested. Octoberpod. Offered by Octoberpodvhs.com in black and white and color. Caution. To avoid fainting, keep repeating. It's only on YouTube. Only on YouTube. Only on YouTube. Only on YouTube. Stream as much as you can.